Hey guys, I am Priscilla and welcome to my side of the internet. Today I am going to be starting a challenge where I read classics for 4 weeks straight. The reason why I wanted to do this is because classics are challenging for me to read and I really want to stretch myself. So I already started on Pride and Prejudice. This is my second classic. My first classic was, let me see, Pilgrim's Progress. Yeah, it's up there somewhere. It's on top of my bookshelf, but yeah, that was my first classic ever, and it was so hard to read. It took me 6 months to read that book, but it was so worth it, you guys. It was such an amazing book. But anyway, that's not what I want to talk about. It's a great Christian classic. It's so amazing. It's like one of the first Christian books that was ever majorly published, I think. One of the selling Christian books of all time. So anyway, such a good book. But yeah, so I really wanted to do reading classics for a month straight. And I'm so excited. So like I said, I'm reading Pride and Prejudice with my best friend Suli. This is my copy. It is a Reader's Digest copy from the 90s or early 2000s, I believe. But look how stunning this book is. Wow, it's so beautiful. What I love about Jane Austen is she doesn't tell you immediately off the bat what a character is and who they are. You figure that out as you read the book, and that's just been the most interesting thing with the main character Elizabeth. Is I'm halfway through the book right now, and I feel like I'm at the point where I finally realize what her feelings are towards a potential love interest. Whereas the whole book I'm trying to so far I'm trying to figure out whether she's into him or not. Is she playing hard to get? What is going on? But that is just so amazing as a reader that I get to figure this out as I read the book instead of it just being given to me. So that's been one of my favorite things about her writing style so far. This book is hilarious. I have laughed out loud so many times already. The way Jane Austen writes her characters are full of depth, and I've read my fair share of books where I feel there's just no depth. I want depth, I also love my fun reads too, but man, when I want depth, I just want depth. But anyway, so other than that, I think those are the main things I've realized so far that I've loved about Pride and Prejudice and Jane Austen's work. But yeah, this is officially week 1, so this is Monday, October 20 something, and Halloween is this week. But yeah, so this is week 1. This is my first official read of a classic. I think my next classic might be, I really want to read Alice in Wonderland. Anyway, so right now, my husband is barbecuing outside. Well, he's not barbecuing. He's just grilling chicken. But he's grilling chicken. We have a patio, so I think I'm going to read outside. It's a little humid. It's about to rain down here in the south. So tomorrow's going to be a super rainy day. You already know what that means. I'm going to take my butt inside, and I'm going to be reading. What the heck did I just read? You guys, okay, this is the reality about reading classics. is I feel like I have to reread the same thing over and over to understand it. But I feel like when I first read Pride and Prejudice, like the first 25% of the book, it was really hard for me to understand the language. Now that I'm halfway through it, I am reading at a lot faster pace because I get the language. So if reading classics is scary to you, just be patient. Don't compare your journey to someone else's journey reading classics. It's a learning curve. I mean, this language is completely different than our 21st century language, and they use different vocabulary, but that's a wrap for right now. I'm gonna keep reading, and I will update tomorrow on anything. Okay, so I'm not going to lie, I did not read all that much yesterday. I read for a little bit, but I got really busy and it was super late. After me and my husband ate dinner, we just talked and we hung out, but I actually have no power right now. I guess lightning struck one of our electrical, I don't know, but we have no power right now, so I'm just gonna read out here. It looked like the storm passed pretty quickly, but it rained really hard. Anyway, so far in Pride and Prejudice, I'm in a really good part. I just ended the part where the potential love interest just gave Elizabeth a letter, and the letter's like a few pages long, so it's really long. I can show you. This is the letter, and it goes on for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. So I'm excited to read it. I left off at a really good part yesterday. I don't know how much I should share without it being spoilers, but yeah, okay. I'm just gonna read out here for a little bit up until we get to go to the gym, and yeah. Okay, I'm back from the gym. I just showered right now and the power is still out, so here's my handy dandy candle and flashlight. I am going to have to read in the dark. That storm really messed our neighborhood up. I mean, yeah, I don't think anyone has power in our neighborhood, so I'm just going to sit here and read for a little bit, and I will update you guys on how much I read. Okay, so it's the next day. It's Wednesday, and last night my power went out and it didn't come back on till about 1 a.m., which is a while, but I'm glad. It was really cold outside. I was able to read for a few hours actually, and I read about a little over 20 pages, which is a lot to get through, especially because I think a lot while I read. So I don't just, like, I'm sure I can get 20 pages done in like an hour to 2 hours with a classic like Pride and Prejudice. But because the language is so different, I've talked about this already, but I was able to like think through everything. I just love digesting the book in its entirety. Like, I'm not in a rush to finish Pride and Prejudice. I really like taking my time, truly understanding what I'm reading, absorbing it, thinking about how that applies to the plot and what could potentially happen. But I really wanted to read a quote that I love. So, okay. It was in page 184 in my copy, but Elizabeth says, reflection must be reserved for solitary hours. Whenever she was alone, she gave way to it as the greatest relief, and not a day went by without a solitary walk in which she might indulge in all delight of unpleasant recollections. And I just related so much to that, because there are times where I'm deep in thought and I'm with people and I'm like, oh, like, it's so difficult for me to be present when I'm in such deep thought. But I related with Elizabeth in that solitary hours should be for deep thought, and I don't have to overwhelm myself with a thought. Let's say I'm reading a piece of literature or I'm reading my Bible and there's something that's getting me to think. I shouldn't overwhelm myself with like figuring out right then and there what it means, especially if I'm with people that I love and I want to spend time with them. So I just really love that quote. But another thing too is I'm seeing, so the name is Pride and Prejudice, and my best friend told me that you'll see themes of Pride and Prejudice throughout the book. And in the part that I specifically got, I started to see Elizabeth's prejudice towards Darcy. And I was like, oh, I see. Miss Elizabeth is prejudice. She's letting her prejudice of Darcy inhibit her from trusting him, if that makes sense. If you don't know the plot, it could be a little confusing, but... And then obviously, I've always seen Darcy's pride throughout the whole book, but Elizabeth has this perception of Darcy that she will not allow herself to be broken away from. And she's at a point in the book right now where she's thinking. I mean, she's thinking about, wow, is Darcy truly this person I think he is? Or am I getting things wrong here? So it convicted me too. I was like, man, Darcy's so prideful, he's so arrogant. Like, I'm letting Elizabeth's voice in my head. I'm like, yeah, you're right, Elizabeth. He is this big, mean, arrogant man with no good in him. And I'm like, wait, is he though? Is he really? I don't think so. So that's currently the part I'm in right now. I have about a little over 100 pages left in the book. And hopefully I'm able to at least get through half of that today and half of that tomorrow. That's kind of my goal. I really want to be done with the book by Friday. Hopefully, we'll see. I read up until, I think I read about 3 chapters in about an hour, which is pretty good progress for me. I'm noticing the more and more I read Pride and Prejudice, the more and more I become familiar with the language. I've talked about this already, but anyway, I'm in a really, really good part in the book where Mr. Darcy is now being reintroduced, and after Darcy sent Elizabeth the letter, now she's had so much time to think about Darcy and even the accusations she's brought against him and her opinions of him, and I feel like she's come more to a place of reason. And I'm in a very interesting place on whether or not I think Elizabeth is starting to have feelings for Darcy. So I'm interested to see what happens with Darcy and Elizabeth, and if Darcy has had a change of heart. I don't know. I'm not seeing the same pride displayed in Darcy, but I don't want to speak too soon. This is their first encounter since they've last talked, after he addressed some accusations that Elizabeth threw at him. But one thing I love about this copy too is that there's just beautiful illustrations. Just look at this. I feel like I'm in this right now, like with this tree, and I'm trying to wear outfits that are inspired by Pride and Prejudice. Y'all let me know if I'm right on this. But I have so I'm on chapter 44. There are 60 total chapters, so I have 15 chapters left, which doesn't seem a lot, but it is a lot for me, at least. Y'all let me know y'all's experiences with reading classics. I notice it just takes me longer to read them, but I don't mind it. I love it, actually. I love thinking through everything that I'm learning, and it's actually, I almost feel like I'm learning a part of history. So I have notes, so let's see. Ooh, okay, here's a good theme along prejudice. So Elizabeth says, this was praise, speaking of Darcy's maidservant praising him. This was praise of all others most extraordinary, most opposite to her ideas, which proves Elizabeth's prejudice with Darcy. She's now hearing an opinion of someone that actually thinks Darcy's such an amazing man, and she in fact doesn't see him as prideful. She has a different perspective on his pride, that he's just not like other men. And I'm just like, interesting. That's an interesting take for sure. Ooh, this was so good. Okay, I think this is gonna help everyone that's listening. She was confident in having performed her duty, and to fret over unavoidable evils or augment them by anxiety was no part of her disposition. I love that. And this was in the context of Elizabeth talking to her husband about her sister going to a different town because that's where the soldiers were going. So anyway, I just love this perspective. It's like there's no point in trying to fret or have anxiety over things that we did our part. And the question to us is, have we done our part? Like, are we confident in having performed our duty with certain things? And there's no point in having anxiety or fretting over something. It's just, there's no point. I'm like, I'm not gonna let that steal my peace. But yeah, that's so far what I have. I am gonna keep reading and keep y'all posted. I'm in the last 5 chapters of Pride and Prejudice. I'm about to start chapter 55. There's 60 chapters. This is a very bittersweet moment. So I'm gonna keep my phone here. That way I can record any reactions I get, but we are really at the end. I've been reading this book for a week. I'm not proud of this, but this is just the reality. The first 30 chapters took me about 2 months to read. It was just very slow, it was just such a slow time. Part of it, I've talked about this already, is that the language is very different, vocabulary is very different. I think I went into this book expecting it to be really easy, and I'm going to understand everything in this book. It's just going to be like another book, another romance, but in all reality, it's not in the sense where it's like you're reading an entirely different language almost, or like it's almost like you're reading an entirely different dialect of English is the best way I can describe it. But yeah, the first 30 chapters took me about 2 months to read, but I really nailed in this week and just tried to read as much as I could every single day. and it took me about a week. If I finish this, I'm going to finish this today, so the second half took me a week to finish. So I hope that's an encouragement to everyone watching, that it's okay if a book is hard. I think books are meant to challenge us. You know, I like I said, I like my soft romances, my easy reads, my fun reads, but I also love being challenged. I love learning. So Pride and Prejudice was just that. It taught me so much about the time period that it's in, and also just the vocabulary that is used. It was also really amazing learning. But I also, on purpose, wore dresses that were inspired by Pride and Prejudice and the time period that it was written in. Much as I respect them, I believe I only thought of you. Let me keep reading. Currently on the last chapter. Okay, let's do this. Okay, I just finished Pride and Prejudice. This is what I'm going to say. The best way I can describe this is, it feels like when you wrap a present and then you put a bow you tie a bow on the present, and it feels like, oh, okay, I'm complete with this gift. That's how it feels after reading Pride and Prejudice. It feels like the story is finally complete. And this book, if you want to be challenged, if you want your literacy to be challenged, and with character development, with understanding deeper themes when it comes to relationships, I highly, highly recommend this book. It was one of the most rewarding books I've ever read, intellectually, and also in regards to the depth of this book. For instance, when I read Jurassic Park is the most recent modern read that I've finished, and when I finished reading Jurassic Park, it was almost like I was taken on a roller coaster, and at the end I sobbed. I was just sobbing. If you've read Jurassic Park, you probably know why. But with this book, I felt contentment. Jane Austen is such an amazing author. I truly did not understand the hype when it came to her books. I understood she kind of pioneered the way for romance and women in becoming writers. I know she was just a huge impact there, but I truly understand why now. She has written such a remarkable book, and though the first 30 chapters did take me a while to get through, if I would have known that everything in the first 30 chapters of this book was a pertinent value for the last 30 chapters, I feel like I would have gotten through this book a lot quicker. Like I said earlier, it took me 2 months to get through the first 30 chapters, and it took me a week to get through the last 30 chapters. So I think that says something. I don't go into this book thinking that you're going to get immediate answers or know the plot immediately. Be patient. It's so worth it. It is so, so worth it. just some themes. It's literally going to sound so cliche, but the theme truly is Pride and Prejudice. You see how Elizabeth's prejudice towards Darcy and Darcy's pride towards Elizabeth has affected that relationship. And we see the consequences of that throughout the entire book. And at the end, how they can move on that. At the end, how they can move past that. And wow, it's just something to take away is, wow, friendship is so important, and you see it in the book, why friendship is so important. And also how social stigmas can affect relationships. That's very clear, very evident in the book. And I encourage you, if you're going into Pride and Prejudice, I didn't know this, but during the 1800s, there was a huge social stigma with men of wealthier classes going to women of lower classes for marriage. And I did not know that. That's a huge piece of information I wish I would have known before I read the book, because there was a lot of points of confusion with me not knowing that simple factor. Now looking back, I could see how the social stigma of a wealthier man going to a middle-class woman can be an issue. So anyway, I just encourage you guys to pick up hard books. Read hard books, and I'm just here to remind you that Jesus loves you, and to pick up a book, read a page, and if it's too intimidating or you're having a hard time finishing it, just remember to turn the page. All right, you guys, until next time.